and on this Monday I'm going to be looking at when you are reacting from. Oh, now there's a lot to say about this, and I'm going to try and keep it really condensed so that you can listen to it in bite-sized amounts. But quite often, if you're someone that overreacts either in general, or maybe you're just going through a period of time in your life where you find that people are saying to you, you know, gosh, you're like overreacting all the time. Every time I say to you anything, you're overreacting. Or maybe people have told you that they feel they have to walk on eggshells to be around you at the moment. Hopefully that's not your general state of being. Or maybe your partner is feeding back to you, or your kids are feeding back to you that you're quite touchy or quite angry. So I just want to talk a little bit about what's underneath that, because there's always a reason as to why that's going on. So I've spoken about this before, but I'm just going to talk about this again. So I want you to imagine the scenario where maybe I'll give you two different scenarios. So it could be your partner. So in that situation, they may ask you something really minor, and your response to them might be like really over the top. So they could just say anything like, hey, you know, why did you, whatever that is, leave the juice out overnight, or why didn't you stick it in the fridge, or why didn't you leave the top on the toothpaste, or something inane like that. And your reaction is so overblown that it leaves your partner going, whoa, all right, I only asked you if you were, you know. So if you find that that's you, then you're probably going to want to listen more to this. And the other scenario is the children. So if you're a parent that finds that you're overreacting a lot, so everything that your child does is a big deal, you make a fuss about their clothes, their shoes, they're putting this right, putting that right, and suddenly you find that actually you're being quite dictatorial, and maybe that's not your parenting style, or maybe you don't want it to be your parenting style, or maybe you notice that actually it's becoming a bit of a barrier between you and your kids really having a good relationship, which of course is what you want. So those two issues are what I'm umbrellaing today in when are you reacting from, because this comes under a space in time. So when I say when are you reacting from, when we go through stages of this, it's because we're not here, we're not in the present moment of now, we are somewhere else in time, and it's usually somewhere way back. And it's not usually a nice place. So when I say when, I mean when in time. Are you reacting like a 6-year-old? Are you reacting like a teenager? Are you reacting as if you're still in a previous relationship that wasn't very nice? Are you reacting as if you're a child to their parent? When are you reacting from? Because quite often, when we're not present in the present moment of now, which most people aren't, we have these continuing arguments or replays of scenarios in our minds. So we could be doing anything, but it's very hard to stay in that moment and stay really focused. So you might be going back to this old memory, replaying it, going over in your mind, thinking, oh, you know, if only I'd have done that, if only I did, like really rehashing the argument, replaying it, really engrossed in it, feeling really all of those same feelings that you felt at that time, or the injustice of what you felt as a child or as a teenager, whatever that situation is that you're thinking about, you're engrossed in it. So when your loving partner or your child says, hey, sweetie, or hey, mum, dad, you're not answering them as if it's today and going, oh, yeah, sure, or actually parenting how you want. You are actually reacting from that place in your head from way back. So you're reacting from a when in time. You're not here now. So how do you respond from now would be very different, I'm sure. I'm sure you don't want to be a dictator. I'm sure you don't want to be angry. I'm sure you don't want to be constantly nagging or constantly just, you know, not responding in a loving manner to your partner, because that's not going to be good for any relationship. So how do you move beyond that? How do you move beyond that reactionary state? Well, it's about being present, and it's about really using some techniques to stay present, to respond from the moment of now, not from an old place and time. So obviously the courses that I teach, I'll teach you how to recover from those past events. That's my job. So that's what I love to do. So I can help you to do that. But if you were just after some momentary quick tips, what I would suggest is not responding immediately to anything. For, you know, if you make a pact with yourself and say, right, I'm really going to change how I respond to my relationship. I really value my relationship and I want to keep them. I want to stay in this relationship. I like it. Then you're going to have to change your overreactionary state. If you're trying to be a good parent and you know that the way that you're dealing with your child or children isn't particularly brilliant right now, and it hasn't been for a while, and you know in yourself you want to change something, then you're going to have to think about maybe putting into place a stop and pause state. And it's consciously every day reminding yourself that's what you're going to do. So right, today I'm not going to be reactionary. Today I'm really going to try and change this. So when that person comes to you, whether it's your partner, your kids, rather than responding straight away, you're going to really try and teach yourself to just pause, bring yourself into the moment. So you're going to pause, just count to 3 or 5, bring yourself to the here and now, and then respond. Because the other thing that is worth considering is those things that you're making a fuss about. Do you want to make a fuss about those things, or are those things that were given to you to make a fuss about? Because sometimes we haven't really thought about what I want, what you want. You haven't actually thought through, hold on a minute, how do I want to parent? Do I want to be that fussy parent? Does it matter if their clothes are dirty? Can I just soak them and put them in the washing machine? Is it worth that argument? Do I want this to happen? Why am I doing that? And then I go, okay, well, because I was treated like that. Okay, did I like that? No. Why am I doing it? Well, so it's about delving deeper into the why and the when. So when you're reacting from and why. And really just taking that pause to look at it and ask yourself those questions. Do I want to do this? Am I repeating the pattern in my relationship that I saw my mum and dad do? Or do I want that for myself? Or do I want a really close, loving relationship where I'm really fulfilled and so is my partner, and it's like just great? Because that is possible, by the way. It just takes some work through of yourself, because that's what it's all about, just working through you. So those questions about when in time and why, so ask yourself those questions, pause before answering, and really start to try and do that for a week, 2 weeks. Things takes about 30 days for a habit to become ingrained. So if you can keep that habit going, it might not take so long for you, and start asking why and when. Obviously things will get easier and you can stop being that person that maybe you don't want to be. So I hope that helps. Obviously reach out if you want to work with me, or just message me if you want some further tips, or just message me anyway if you need to. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.